end of March, but the library says end of June. Is that correct?
It would be the end of June, for the
End
simple
of June.
reason
Okay.
we need a month or so
Okay.
to
Just want to
process
check because
everything.
we
So
might
yeah, it says
we
end
might
of
be
March, huh?
submitting. Well,
Where
March
was
is
that
when all
at?
the other awards are. That's all the
Oh,
other awards, the
oh,
Horkheimer and all those other ones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think Chuck was going to touch on that tonight. I'll give him a call.
okay.
God got awfully quiet. What happened? Oh, we're
Yeah.
live. Oh no.
Oh no, don't say anything.
Oh no. That's right. Let's share it to Facebook, Astronomy Club. Can the Facebook Astronomy Club, because it's online only, can it be a league club?
I'm thinking.
Does
I,
anyone know?
I think we have, well, a lot of our clubs do remote.
Yeah, but this is online only. It's never been in person, as far as I know.
hmm.
That might be a good question. Go ahead, John.
Let's put some
Oh,
some
oh,
executive members on the spot right here.
Yes.
uh,
Uh,
you'd like me to answer that question?
yeah, is it?
Yeah, give us your
Yeah.
best answer.
I would say yes.
I would, yeah.
As long as there's a known membership. Um, because of course we charge dues, and so X number of people means
Oh yeah.
X number of dues.
Well,
But
this could be very expensive. I mean, they have
well,
like
yeah.
40,000 members or
Well, there
something
you
like
go.
that. So
Hey, I'm all for it.
all
Hey,
for
we'll be
it.
printing out 40,000 reflectors and
Yeah.
sending them then, as long
Hmm.
as they're in the US.
All right. This is the guys watching on Facebook Astronomy Club. If you want to be an Astronomical League club, all you have to do is everybody has to pay dues. So
Oh, that's a good question for Mitch to answer if they would
is it?
Yeah,
contact him.
Yeah.
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 Because we don't ship the reflector overseas. Mailing
Oh,
is just everything's too expensive. Um,
But they could get it digitally, right?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
And the reflector is our magazine. If somebody out there does not know what it is, it's
And
our
it's a great
quarterly
magazine.
publication.
It's a great magazine. I just got my copy in the mail.
Yeah,
So thank you very much.
you are
Beautiful
welcome.
magazine, actually. Well, it is 6:02, and we are broadcasting, and we're live, and we do have some people watching. And so I think we should probably kind of get started
Let's
here.
go.
Is everybody ready?
Everybody's
ready?
ready, I think.
Okay, here we go.
The constellation Scorpius lies along the dusty lanes near the center of our Milky Way galaxy. Within these dark, dense clouds, new stars form and create glowing nebulae. At the heart of the Lobster Nebula is a brilliant cluster of stars called Pismis 24. Using infrared light, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope captured this spectacular view of the massive star cluster and nearby clouds of dust and gas.
God, I think that video like abruptly stopped. I don't know. It's like they were like the voice is like leading into something else. I wanted to hear more, and bam, it's gone. So,
Shut that door. Yeah.
anyways, that was one of NASA's videos, and I get mesmerized by those things, especially when they're like zooming in and showing greater detail and greater detail. It's awesome. So. Um, We have Terry Mann, of course, with us tonight, and she is hosting her 57th Astronomical League Live, which is great. Yeah. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about it, Terry?
Well, thank you, Scott. Yeah, I can't believe 57 programs. Wow. We're moving right along. So, tonight though, we have a really good lineup. We have Brian Simpson from Cincinnati that will be talking about ALCON 2026. We have Don Knabb that's going to talk about the night sky. Chuck Allen, I think he might be mentioning the awards along the way. And Gordon Baustian will be joining us talking about NCRAL Conference, the North Central Region Astronomical League Conference. A lot of the regions do have their own conferences. So tonight we are going to talk about things the Astronomical League has kind of been up to for about 80 years now, because we are 80, we might be 81, 82.
80 in November.
80 in November. All right. So the league has always been looking forward, or looking for ideas to move people forward in their discovery of the celestial wonders. So when the Astronomers Without Borders asked for contribution to do that, John Goss jumped at the chance. The AL has developed a number of basic activities for both binocular and naked eye observers, and some of these activities can be used by clubs at their public sessions, their observing sessions, or even for talks. So coming up in a couple of minutes is going to be John Goss, and he will be speaking about projects and activities from the Astronomical League. But first, we are going to go to Brian Simpson to talk about ALCON 2026. Brian, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
we appreciate it. You have had a great day. You've been on the news today. Lots been happening.
Yeah, we having a great day today. We had a really great news story break about our society and a really exciting new partnership that we are embarking upon. We've actually been sort of keeping it a secret for about the last 3 years until the partnership could get where it needs to be. And I'm going to talk a lot about that at the end of this segment. In fact, I've added some more information to this deck specifically because of this announcement we've had today. I did preview this a little bit in the previous AL Live, simply because it also involves people who might be coming to ALCON in August. So we wanted to make sure people knew about it a little earlier so they got the sneak peek. But all of you watching tonight, or who will watch the rebroadcast of this, will learn about this partnership. So let me go ahead and get the deck set up for you all. And give me just a second here to share my screen. I wasn't expecting to go first. Caught me a little bit off guard.
Brian.
Totally okay. Okay, can you all see the deck?
Yes.
Okay, great. So ALCON 2026, which the Cincinnati Astronomical Society is hosting with the Astronomical League. We're really excited to get this kicked off. We first started talking about hosting the ALCON in 2020 and yada, yada, yada. Here we are in 2026, and we're very excited to finally be hosting the ALCON. So I'm going to go through this deck a little bit quickly because I've got a lot of slides, and I have talked about it previously, and all the stuff is up on the website for ALCON 2026. So I won't go into tons of detail, but I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what's going to happen here. So I got multiple keyboards here. Just give me a second. Okay, can we see that on the screen, our logo?
Yes.
CAS, our organization was founded in 1911, which puts this year as our 115th anniversary or birthday, whichever you prefer. So we are also sort of celebrating an anniversary this year along with the AL's 80. And just to give you an idea, we are one of the largest astronomy societies in the United States. We are approaching 400 memberships now, and we do own 3 properties, including our headquarters on the west side of Cincinnati and 2 dark sky sites, one in rural Adams County, Ohio, and the other in rural Bracken County, Kentucky. So we're very fortunate to have that. And also we have something else that I'll be telling you about here in a little bit. There's our headquarters on the left, built in 2004 on the site of the original CAS property. that was owned by our founder, Delisle Stewart. He had a house there where he lived with his family. And there's our 4 permanent observatories. And that includes the 14 and 16-inch Newtonians that we have on site. And we have a smaller observatory that we swap out between SCTs and refractors. But we also have a small observatory, which is referred to as the Henkel Observatory, and that houses our classic, historic 1880 Alvin Clark 8-inch refractor. So we're very, very lucky and fortunate to have that. We just celebrated the 100-year anniversary of CAS obtaining this telescope last year, and we put you can see there's a plaque there on the building now to celebrate that centennial last year. So, and there will be a little bit of a story that will kick off the soft start at the ALCON, which I'll talk about in a second, that talks about how the lens was stolen from that telescope in 1980 and how after 20 years it was recovered. So like I mentioned before, we have 2 dark sky sites, one in Adams County, Ohio, Bracken County, Kentucky. The Bracken County site has a 20-inch reflecting telescope. And we also are very, very heavily invested in doing outreach, like many societies are around the country. We did about 68 events in 2024, which includes about 15 eclipse preparation events leading up to April 8th, 2024. And we did over 60 events last year, and I expect we're going to be over 60 events again this year. We are very, very active now in citizen science programs. We have a Radio Jove program, a sudden ionospheric disruption program, and we're getting very heavily involved in Exoplanet Watch. That's something that some of our members are really, really doing some amazing work with. And so that's a little bit of a primer about who we are. ALCON 2026 is going to be in August, the 12th to 15th at the Marriott River Center. That's right across the river from downtown Cincinnati in Covington, Kentucky. Here is the branding logo for the ALCON 2026 that represents some of the landmarks in our city. And there is the Marriott across the river. It's a really great venue. We're very, very pleased to be able to have it at this venue. Really nice on the inside. Sort of has like a, I don't know, 80s sci-fi sort of Logan's Run kind of vibe to it, which kind of appeals to me. Of course, the very important bar where we can go get those beers later on after the sessions are over. There's the Atrium Level 2. We will have some events on Atrium Level 2. There's the view across the river, as I mentioned, downtown Cincinnati. You can actually walk to downtown Cincinnati from the Marriott over the Roebling Suspension Bridge, which is on the right there in the picture. There it is, a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so as usual, we are going to have speakers. We are going to have happy hours. We'll have the annual Star BQ. We will have the banquet, keynote, and awards as usual, and we will have some special events, which I'll detail here in just a couple of moments. This is the general outline. We're going to have a kickoff happy hour Wednesday night before the conference starts. That'll be at a local pub called Molly Malone's right around the corner. And we've got general sessions. We got the hard start, which will be at 1 p.m. on Thursday, Starbecue on Thursday, featured speakers on Friday, and then, of course, the banquet and the keynote on Saturday. So for Friday night, we're going to have Dr. Shane Larson speaking. He'll be speaking in the late slot on Friday night. Professor of physics at Clarkson University. We're really, really excited to have him here. And he's a fellow of the American Physical Society. Leading into his presentation, we will have Pran Hyseni, who a lot of people know because she's got a very active social media profile. She is the founder of Astronomy Outreach Kosovo. Really fantastic story about how she spearheaded Kosovo's first observatory. She's also a Celestron ambassador. We're really excited to have her. And then on Saturday night, we're going to have Dr. Rebecca Williams, the Deputy Principal Investigator at Perseverance Mastcam and Marticams, and Senior Scientist at the Planetary Science Institute. Highly recommended by Chuck Allen, and she was very gracious to accept the invitation. Really want to thank Chuck Allen for aligning Dr. Williams with ALCON this year to have her speak. I know he's got us all excited by describing how great of a speaker she is, and apparently she does such a great job with her presentations on Mars that you will actually feel like you were there after she's finished. That's the way it's been described. So super excited to have her. We've got other speakers, Scott Harrington from Sky Telescope, a young up-and-coming astronomer, Jericho Kuehl, who is the previous Horkheimer to ARIA Youth Service Award. We have our Cincinnati's own Dr. Wes Ryle from the Cincinnati Observatory. He will be here to speak to us about citizen science. We've got John Ventry, who is an astronomy historian and author. He is a CAS honorary lifetime member, and he will be kicking it off at our soft start on Thursday to talk about the stolen objective lens from our 1880 Alvin Clark. He spent 20 years tracking down the person who stole it and had it recovered in 1999, 2000. So very entertaining story. Dr. Nick Abel from UC Claremont, professor of physics. We have Dusty Segreto, who is an expert in micrometeorites. He spoke at our CAS holiday party in December. And as soon as I saw his presentation, I said, we got to have him because this is something people can watch and learn and take with them when they go to learn how to find their own micrometeorites. So very entertaining. We've got Dr. Jeremy Huber from Cincinnati State and a cast of really nice young up-and-coming astronomy talent. Emmy Bursk, Amy Donbar, who actually is who is an instructor at Cincinnati State, Catherine Heil, and then the board. This panel will be moderated by Terry Endress, who is an astronomy instructor at Cincinnati State and also our CAS first vice president. We will have some of CAS's great citizen science talent, Jeff Rodriguez, Matthew Garrett, and John Blazing. They will be speaking about exoplanets and radio astronomy in their various presentations. I will be speaking for a short period with Dieter Moeller, who is the founder of the Moeller Observatory, which I'm going to talk about here in just a few minutes. This is part of the big presentation and the big news story that we had today. So the special events, Wednesday night, as I mentioned, there's a kickoff social at Molly Malone's. A lot of these are ticketed events that go along with ALCON 2026. This will be a lot of fun. Thursday morning, we've got the soft start brunch and presentation with John Ventry's Stolen Lens presentation. Thursday afternoon will be the official start of ALCON with the opening remarks by Chuck Allen and myself. And then Thursday night is the Starbecue. The Starbecue is being held at the historic Cincinnati Museum Center. We will have food, beverage, and there is limited seating, but we will be offering an OmniMax film, Deep Sky, on the James Webb Space Telescope. This is the Cincinnati Museum Center. This is one of the best examples of Art Deco architecture in the United States. Very iconic. It's actually part of the branding for our ALCON 2026. You can see the atrium on the inside is just stunning, gorgeous. We will have the Starbecue here. It will be held in the Natural History Museum and the Neil Armstrong Gallery. So we will have a lot of space-themed exhibits to look at. There's the Natural History Museum with all of the dinosaurs. This will be a walking reception with food and beverage and music, and some of the tunnels underneath the Natural History Museum and one of the mastodon skeletons they have there. There's a lot more there. This is just a little bit of a teaser for you all. So on Friday, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have an Explore Cincinnati activity window, and this will allow all of our guests to get outside of the conference, get outside of that conference room and explore a little bit. And we have two pre-planned events for this activity window. One is going to be to visit the historic Cincinnati Observatory. The other is to go on a Cincinnati Underground Brewery tour. Cincinnati has a lot of brewing heritage, so we've decided to include that in the tour. We are also planning some ad hoc events for people who don't want to go on either one of those. These will be things that we will just sort of come up with a little closer to the conference, and some of them could even be spur of the moment. We will have ambassadors to help conference goers attend those activities around town. There's the observatory. That's for people who have never been to Cincinnati. You're definitely going to want to take this tour and see the Cincinnati Observatory and the historic telescopes there. And then, of course, the Underground Brewery Cave tour is over there on the right. We do have a pre-banquet social hour on Saturday afternoon. That includes complimentary wine and beer from the Marriott. And then, of course, in the evening, we have the banquet, Dr. Williams' keynote, and then the awards ceremony. And again, this is also an optional ticketed event. We're also encouraging people to come early in that week and visit some of the sites and events around Cincinnati. We have a lot of really great things to do in our city, and we want people to be able to take advantage of that. Again, 12th to 15th of August this year. The registration is live now. ALCON2026.org is where you want to go. Read up on all the things that we've got planned and scheduled, and then there is a link to go to the ticketing site to be able to secure your tickets. We do have limited capacity for this conference. I think our top capacity is 320, and I know that the sales of tickets are already going pretty strongly. If you want to learn more about our organization, sinastro.org is where you want to go. And I want to thank our co-chairs, Laura Zajac and Eric Shermley. They have been absolutely amazing planning this conference. I've never been around two more dedicated and organized people in all my years as CAS president. So we have them to thank for bringing this thing to life. So we'll see you this August in Cincinnati. And there is something else I want to talk about that is a little unusual for an ALCON, and that is we're going to host an after party on August 16th, the Sunday after the ALCON ends. It's technically not officially part of ALCON 2026, but we are advertising it through ALCON because this is something we think ALCON attendees are going to want to see. And that is we're going to have food, beverage, and band at a dark sky remote location. Dark sky observing, of course, is, weather permitting, of course, that persistent asterisk that we always put on everything. And it's going to be located at a place called the Molar Observatory. And we have just kicked off our public acknowledgement announcement of the partnership between CAS and the Molar Observatory as of today. We've been working on this for several years, and it's a super exciting partnership. This is unlike most things that exist in the amateur astronomy world. So we're really excited about this. So I want to tell you a little bit about that partnership to get you all excited. And plus, we are really excited about finally having this out in the public. So the Molar Observatory is the dream of local area businessman and lifelong amateur astronomer Dieter Moeller. He owns a company called RH Aero Systems up in Mason, Ohio. And he had a dream to build an observatory out in Adams County. There's Dieter with his wife, Susan, superb people. They are amazing, so much fun to be around. And he built an observatory in Adams County. And this is significant. This is a significant installation. This is a private observatory, and CAS is the exclusive partner of the Molar Observatory. And as you can see, it's absolutely stunning. It sits high on a hilltop that overlooks the Ohio River. It's in about Bortle 4 to 5, so super dark. I mean, I can see the Lagoon Nebula naked eye easily. Andromeda is an easy pickup from this location. And it's got a lot of amenities. There's a place to sit inside and eat some food. There's sleeping quarters on the premises. And there are telescopes, of course. And I'll just go through these rather quickly. In the center there is a 10-inch Tech 250 4-element refractor. This thing is stunning. The views through these Tech 250s are amazing. Of course, there's a plane wave Delta Row 350 on the right, astrograph. We're very fortunate to have the left pier. This is an older picture. We now have a Lunt 152 millimeter hydrogen alpha solar scope installed on that one, so we'll be able to do solar viewing during the day. And then, of course, in the main observatory is the PW1000 plane wave 1 meter reflector, and we're really, really fortunate to have access to this telescope. Some of our members are already starting to do really fantastic citizen science work with this instrument. Here's a little bit of a video showing the PW1000. The folks from Plane Wave were great. They came down and they installed it in a day. We had first light in 1 day. So that's the PW1000. Here are some photos of the grounds. This is one of our member events we had. This was September of 2004. It's got a really wonderful 70-foot observing deck that looks out over the Ohio River. And it's on such a high vista, it's on such a high plateau almost, that at night it's very immersive. You feel very immersed in the sky there. There's a camping terrace, so you can set up your tents. It's got electrical outlets up on the observing platform and in the camping area. Dieter has really built this with a lot of amenities for visitors, for us to use. There's the observing platform. You can see the wonderful view over the Ohio River. It's absolutely stunning. There's Dieter Moeller looking through the Tech 250. And some just general photos of the grounds. It's absolutely amazing facility. stairs leading between the two structures. There's the observing deck, and the observing deck in the roll-off building, he deliberately had the walls built low so you could look out of the side and see out over the river. It's just stunning. There's the observing platform. And like I said, there's electrical outlets. If you want to bring your own telescope, you can set up, do your own astro imaging or observing. I think I already showed that one, sorry. There's another drone view of another members night. And here's a nice little time lapse of the Milky Way over the Muller Observatory. And I was fortunate enough to capture some aurora over the Muller Observatory. This was October 2024. So the Muller Observatory is about 90 minutes from downtown Cincinnati. So people who are driving themselves can drive to the after party on Sunday, and we are arranging for motor coach transportation for people who come to ALCON who fly in and who don't have access to a car. So we will be arranging for transportation for those folks. The after party will be from 2 p.m. till midnight, which is when the motor coach leaves to go back. But for people who are driving in, they're welcome to bring a tent and camp overnight. So that's the Muller Observatory CAS after party after ALCON on August 16th. Of course, you might want to make arrangements to stay overnight Sunday night into Monday. But we're really excited to be able to take the lid off of this partnership. We are capping this event at 250 people, just because if we do end up having to endure any kind of inclement weather, there is a structure, a large industrial barn that Dieter has built that actually has a residence built into it that could hold 250 people if we need to. But if we go any higher than that, it's going to get uncomfortable. So we are capping this at 250 people. This is an invitation for people who come to ALCON 2026. So your ticket to ALCON is a ticket to this after party. And that's all I have for ALCON 2026. And we're really looking forward to seeing everybody here in August.
Thank you, Brian. It looks so amazing. I hope we have really clear skies that night. And I hope everybody out there will join us. I think this will be a fantastic ALCON. First time it's been in the Great Lakes region for many years. So we really appreciate that. And we hope to see everybody there. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I wanted to tell Brian that I like his Art Deco logo. It's really, really catchy.
Thanks. Yeah, that was, we have a very long history of Art Deco architecture in Cincinnati. And I thought it was appropriate to bring that into the branding here. I actually thought of that after a lunch session that I had with Terry and our co-chairs. I was looking at a mural on the Cincinnati Reds Stadium it's an Art Deco relief, and I'm like, that should be the style. And so that's why I brought that into the branding. So we will have T-shirts. We will have, I think we're going to have some other merchandise too. So look for more information about that on the ALCON website and as we get closer to August.
Hey, thank you, Brian.
Thanks,
All right, up next, we are going to have John Goss speak. And John, I'm just going to go ahead and let you start, and you can tell them what this is all about. So, John?
Thanks, Terry. I have a few slides that I'll show in just a moment. But yeah, my talk is kind of a prelude to April, because April is Global Astronomy Month, sponsored, organized, run by Astronomers Without Borders. And they approached us, I think Terry said, about 8 years ago. They wanted some activities that they could share with people around the world. And that's one of the things our organization is here for. It's what we like to do. So we came up with a number of activities, and I thought, and we've added some each year, really. So it's just not just the original ones. We have a number. But I thought that might be a good presentation because even though it's Astronomers Without Borders and we're talking about Global Astronomy Month all around the world, well, a lot of these things can be done right here in the United States by our own astronomy clubs, individual citizens, and so on. So I thought I would introduce you to some of these activities so you'd kind of get the feel of what's going on. So with that happy note, I'm going to start sharing. Good. See, let's get serious
There
here.
you go. Looks good.
Thank you. Getting real serious. Okay. In celebration of Global Astronomy Month. As I said, that's April. And it lasts the whole month, and it's global, around the world. It's for everybody. So let's talk a little bit. Well, okay. I'll stop here and backtrack a little bit. We have a number of events coming up here in the next few months. Brian just talked about the ALCON 2026. I can't add anything to what he said because he covered it pretty well. But there's a few other ones. In another month, we have NEAF, which is the Northeast Astronomy Forum. And that's held in Suffern, New York, which is kind of on the northeastern edge of New Jersey, where it meets New York State. And it is a huge forum of exposition, really, of many, like over 100 astronomy astronomy vendors and organizations, just bringing in all their equipment. And I bet you Scott Roberts is going to be there. So if you want to meet him and give him a hard time about something in person, go there and you'll really enjoy it. I'm just teasing you, Scott. But what else we got? So that's an April. And it's a 2-day event, 2.5-day event, something like that. It's
I'll be
a
there.
lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Next we come up, we have in the middle of May, the North Central region of the Astronomical League. I'm not going to say much about this because we're going to have someone speak here and a little bit about it as well. But it's a big conference. It's for a small area of the United States, so I like viewing it as kind of like a mini ALCON. It's a number of interesting talks, but I won't say any more because I don't want to steal anyone's thunder. And besides, I'm not the authority. In the middle of June, we have the Mid-States Convention, which is a similar thing, a number of talks. It's where astronomers come and talk to other amateur astronomers and kind of share stories and learn from each other. And it's a couple of days, so that's a lot of fun. And I bet you Scott's going to be at that one as well. I'm guessing. I'm putting him on the spot. He's nodding his head. Good.
I hope so.
I know he just lives down the road from it, so.
That's
But anyway,
true.
so those are some stuff coming up. Now, there are a lot of other things coming up, but that's all I have right now.
St. Charles County, right?
Yep. So, when Astronomers Without Borders asked us to do this, automatically came, hey, Astronomical League gets it. We want to help people come into the hobby and spark an interest to keep them going, keep them motivated. So to do that, Astronomers Without Borders came up with a whole month-long astronomy celebration for this. And they call it Global Astronomy Month. Now, I'm not going to read everything what I wrote here, except for that last line, because that's really what it's all about to us, that everyone, everywhere, all see the same moon, the same planets, many of the same stars. Now, I don't want to go into why not all the same stars, but many of the same stars, and we all live under the same sun. So that kind of unites us like that. We're all there on our planet looking up. So who is our audience for this? Don't worry, I'm getting into the activities in just a moment. But who is the audience? Well, kind of like what you would think. There are a lot of people out there who don't know much about astronomy, but they seem to have an interest in the sky, what's going on. They don't know much about it. They don't see a lot of it, but they hear about it and think, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. So we want to target those people. This is for people in both southern and northern hemisphere, the equatorial regions, in the western hemisphere, and in Europe and Africa and Asia, everybody everywhere. This is for everybody. So that is one thing to keep in mind when we were developing some of these programs, because we had to make them kind of accessible to most people. And thirdly, you have most of these people will be exploring the night sky with just their unaided eye. Perhaps they'll have binoculars. Very few of them will have access to small telescopes, which is important because you don't want to leave the telescope people out, but you don't want to alienate the people who can only want to view with the unaided eye, because that's going to be a lot of people. So that's what a lot of these are targeted towards. So let's take a look at some of this. I'm not going to go into the library telescope loaner program, but if you are familiar with it, this type of telescope is ideal for looking at anything that we say is good for telescopic view. It's a small telescope, about 4.5 inches in diameter. You check it out from the library. If you want to know more about this, look on our website and investigate further, because this is really cool. But it's something to keep in mind. A lot of you are familiar with this map or maps like it that we put out once a month. So April, as seen from the Northern Hemisphere, which really means, from my point of view, between 35 and 40 degrees north. It has all the stuff coming up that's of interest that you can see with the unaided eye, basically. But we wanted to go more than that, further than that. So we made them available for equatorial regions because they see a little bit different perspective of the sky. And we also wanted to see Southern Hemisphere, and we wanted to have all these maps available in both English and Spanish. So you can see, we have a sample of them right here. I'm not going to go into them all, but just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. Equatorial region, you look down in the south, see a lot of stuff that we can't see, at least from where I live in Virginia. The Beta and Alpha Centauri, okay, can't see that here. Crux, Southern Cross, nah, can't see that here. Eta Carina, False Cross, Canopus, nope, can't see that here. Large and small Magellanic Cloud, which is not on the map, but can't see that where I live. We can see Puppis, and we can see part of Vela. So really from that line up north, we can see here in the United States. But this is a lot of stuff we really can't see. And there's a lot of really cool looking stuff in that part of the sky. So this is why we include these maps for people down who live, let's say, below 20 degrees north. So this would be the equatorial regions, and all the way down through South America to the tip of Chile. So there's a lot of stuff in the sky you can see, and a lot of people will be looking for it if they have the opportunity and if they're shown what to do. So hopefully some of these maps with our activities, which I'm still getting to, you'll see what it's all about. First activity, which we call lunar explorations. And it is a series of 20 targets on the moon, which have been dealt with, seen with many times over the past couple hundred years. These targets all have the common feature that some prominent official astronomer believed that he or she saw signs of change on the lunar surface, which could either be due to volcanism, okay, or life. Today we know this is basically all wrong, but prominent people said, yeah, we saw some of this stuff. So we have an activity in which points people at the way to find some of these on the moon. I have 4 of them right here. I'm not going to go through all 20. I'm just going to give you an example on what they look like. We have in the upper left-hand corner of the chart a location on the moon of where these craters or features are, and then how to find it and what's the best time of the month, what's the best night or morning of the month to see if you can see this. No, you're not going to find life on the moon. No, you're not going to find clouds floating across. But somebody at some time of prominence thought, yes, there was, but no, you can't. But I want to look at the one on the lower right. Now, here we are. Well, we're in the 21st century, but in the 20th century, some of this stuff was still going on. A place called O'Neill's Bridge, which is just off the western edge of Mare Crisium. It's near the crater Proclus. And in 1953, I mean, that's not that long ago, a little bit longer than I've been around, but not much longer. 1953, the New York Herald Tribune science editor, John O'Neill, reported that he saw something funny there. They have 12-mile bridge, 12-mile long bridge, 12-mile long natural bridge spanning a gap right on the edge of Mare Crisium. Of course, we know that can't be so, but okay, something to look at. And what all these do, these 20 targets do, is to get people up looking at the moon and trying to understand what it's all about and what's really up there, and just to give them a pathway across the moon to see various interesting craters or mountain ranges or fissures in the lunar surface. Actually get them doing something. Of course, you need a small telescope for this, but that library telescope will do it. Another activity, which I called in the footsteps of Galileo. This came about from 2009, which was the International Year of Astronomy, which we were featuring everything to do with Galileo, making all these first discoveries with a small telescope. Well, we took some of those and made them into different activities that people could try, either with a telescope or with binoculars, and with the idea of trying to instill a sense of wonder of what they're going to see. This is the first time you're actually seeing a good telescope. You can see the moon and see the stuff. We talk about it, and yes, you can really see it. So this is to get people out there to try that for themselves. So what are some of the activities on this? Well, some of them you can kind of guess for yourself of what Galileo did. Examine imperfections on the lunar surface, which meaning craters and the mountain ranges and so on. Okay. Some of these other activities, Jupiter's large moons. No, that was a big deal for Galileo to find the four large moons, now called Galilean moons. But you can see that. You can see it with binoculars. The crescent phase of Venus. This isn't a fly this year because Venus in April is not in a crescent phase. In fact, it's, I shouldn't say it, but it's not all that great to look at. So you have to wait maybe next year for that. The many stars of the Pleiades, meaning that Galileo, up to his time, people thought there were 6, 7, 8, something like that, stars. Well, he found out that there were about 40 with his telescope. So the participant can discover that for themselves. Pretty cool stuff. Milky Way, I won't get into all that. Orion's Nebula, I won't get into all that. But you can see there are a number of different activities. I think there are 10 activities in all. Here's a more of a blow up of the Pleiades star cluster and what Galileo saw on the upper left, and what he wrote about how he claims to have found all these stars, which no one has ever seen before. He was just trying to get his credit in there, make sure no one stole it from him. And he explained it, and that's what people can see, even with binoculars. We have an objective, which is pretty much what I just showed you right now, and a description of how to go about doing this and how to find the Pleiades. We have descriptions on how to find each one of these objects. That's, I think, is the biggest hang-up that people have, is actual finding stuff in the sky. How do you see it? How do you find your way in the night sky? Well, as we all know, but you just don't find your way. You got to learn it. It's like learning a map of the United States before you can find out where Chicago is, unless you live in Chicago. Or Cincinnati. Where's Cincinnati? Well, here's the Ohio River, and here's Ohio, and there's Indiana and Kentucky. That's just how we find things in the sky. We learn the night sky. And this helps people do that. Another one, what we call the Orion's Head Nebula, showing that you have a fuzzy patch in the sky. In the year 1000 AD, people looked at that patch and they didn't know what it was. So finally it came to Galileo's time. He saw it was a bunch of stars whose light all kind of blended together to give a faint fuzzy spot in the sky. And that's what a lot of these faint fuzzy spots are. So you discovered that for yourself now. Another set of activities, which is called In the Footsteps of the Celestial Police. Now, all this really is that you track a bright asteroid throughout the month. But not this year, because there are no easily found bright asteroids in April. But last year's, we had Vesta, and we generally choose between Vesta and Ceres, but not this year. But the idea is that we have a map which shows you how to find it through binoculars. You track it, you plot it, and you can see its movement the whole month as it slowly shifts across the sky. That shows you that stuff really does move. An asteroid, it may look star-like, but it is part of our solar system, and you can slowly follow it across the sky. That's one of the activity. Double stars. Well, remember, we're talking global here. So we have double stars that are visible in the southern hemisphere and the northern. These are all binocular objects. They really aren't all that difficult to see if you have a steady mount and clear skies, of course, clear, steady skies. And you can see we have 10 of them. And we also talk a little about each one. And I think I'm going to focus on Tau Hydrae. Yes, which we give a description of the double star, what it's all about, how to locate it, how to locate with binoculars from a brighter object around it, such as Alphard, which is the brightest star in Hydra. And that is featured on our monthly sky map, so you can find it. And you have a pair of binoculars in your hand, you can just see how you go up really about 1.5 binocular fields, and you should land right on it. And if you have a steady pair of binoculars, you'll see 2 little stars there where one would normally be. So we have 10 of those. What else we got? Okay, open clusters. Same deal with that. That we got to have open clusters in the southern hemisphere and in the northern. Some of these you're probably pretty familiar with. The Messier objects, for instance. Excuse me. But not so much in the southern hemisphere. So there are some other ones there. There's some index cataloged objects, which are those 3 which I have listed happen to be down by Eta Carina and the Southern Cross. So that part of the sky. Of course, we have the M42 and Eta Carina Nebula, which are not really star clusters, but they do have star clusters within them, and they are currently creating new ones as we speak, but it won't become apparent for thousands of years. So, yeah, this is what it would look like, some of the instructions on how to find IC 2602, which has the more common name as the Southern Pleiades, which is a really nice cluster of stars. Not quite as big as our northern variety of Pleiades, but still, it's very interesting to look at. Binoculars easy pick up that. This will show you how to find it starting at the Southern Cross, which is one of those objects in the sky, which if you go down the southern hemisphere and look up, and it's up there, you can't miss it. It just grabs your attention. I won't get into all that, but so we have both northern and hemisphere people can look at some of this. And keep in mind, everything I'm saying can be done by people here in the U.S., people in Europe, astronomy clubs. If they're looking for activities to give to their members, here's some stuff to do. See if you can go out and find some of this stuff. You can do it. Okay, now we're wrapping things. We're coming back down here. Let's talk about solar system tasks. We have a lot of stuff in our solar system to look at. We have at least a dozen activities, which hopefully people will see what's going on in our own solar system. Changing sunrise and sunset locations. Because our Earth is tilted, and as it orbits the sun, it results in the sun rising and setting at different spots along the horizon, spending more time or less time in the sky as in other times of year. In the northern hemisphere in April, the sun spends a little more time in the sky than it does in the say in the winter time skies. So this kind of shows you want people to go out and draw the little horizon line going from east all the way south and west, maybe northwest, and put a little X on the first part of April where the sun pops up above the horizon. Don't ever look at the sun, but put an X there and the date. When sunset occurs, do the same thing. Put an X in the date. And you'll see in the month of April from the northern hemisphere, the sun rises a little bit further north than it did each morning than it did the morning before. And it sets a little bit further north for the same reason. Southern hemisphere, things are reversed. So you have the sun now not setting quite as far. Well, it's setting a little bit further south and rising a little bit further south each day in April in the southern hemisphere. So this activity, I think it's really good for clubs to try this on their own, because members, I bet you if you talk to people about this, the average person about sunrise and sunset locations, a lot of people aren't going to really know about it because they haven't really thought about it and they haven't really seen it because it's not part of their world, but it should be. This is one activity which I think is a big hit, and anybody can do it. Anybody can do it on the planet. Of course, you got to have some clear skies to do it, but you'll try it and you'll see. Now, I like this one. I like this one. seeing some of these phenomena right near sunset, the alpenglow, the belt of Venus, and Earth's shadow. Well, what is alpenglow? Well, alpenglow is due to the back reflected uh, um, sunlight or refracted sunlight through our atmosphere as the sun drops closer to the horizon, which is why the sun sets red. But it's cast on a high peak, for instance, on the eastern side of the sky. So right at sunset, that's why if you're in the mountains, you can see the tops of the mountains glowing orange. Looks pretty cool. Now the belt of Venus is something very similar, but it's more of the what did I have? That back reflected sunlight from off of particulates in the atmosphere, and it's kind of a orangish purplish band going across the sky, and it goes all the way around the sky. Basically, it has nothing to do with the planet Venus. It has more to do with the gods of Greek mythology, Venus there, and that's what it's called, the belt of Venus. And the last one, which I always like pointing out, it's just the Earth's shadow. You know, as the sun sets, once it drops below the horizon for the first 5 minutes, sun drops a little lower all the time. Well, that means that shadow has to be rising a little bit at the same time, and you can see it. You can see it as a purplish, dark purplish cone rising very slightly above the horizon, very slowly. And as the sun goes even further, this cone rises higher, but it seems to dissipate because the sky itself is becoming darker. You just don't see it anymore. The shadow is always there, but it's always off of the sun. This is something that a lot of people don't even realize. And I have been to one time I was at the Grand Canyon, and the Grand Canyon is known for these spectacular sunsets and sunrises. And I believe it was sunrise that we were actually watching. And there were a bunch of people standing out the rim, kind of gazing. And I started pointing this out to people. And it was really cool, just their reactions, like, I have never seen this before. I never knew that. And as the sun came up, of course, it's gone. So no more shadow because the sun's up. But it's something that anybody can do any place. And it is something that if you have an event, a star party, people ask, what are we going to do here? I mean, it's not even dark out yet. It's going to take another 40 minutes for us to start seeing stuff in the sky. Well, here's one thing that you can talk to people about. When the sun sets, you can start seeing these things. You can explain to them what's going on and that this is due to the fact that we live on a round planet that blocks light, sunlight. And our atmosphere doesn't, though, so that's part of it. I think I hammered this one to death. Now, this is one which I know we've probably all heard of, thought about, seen. Well, you know, people in the public just don't realize this. People around the world don't realize it. They hear the big moon, or they may not hear the big moon illusion, but they see the moon rise and think, gosh, that sure looks so big. And here it is. It comes up. Well, activity in which you do that. Very easy activity. Anybody can do it. You wait for the moon to rise. Okay. Then you just take a drinking straw, hold it up to your eye and look at the moon and notice how big that moon is in that drinking straw. Come back an hour or two later when the moon is quite a bit higher up, look again, and you'll see the moon's the same size in that drinking straw. Even though when it was close to the horizon, it seemed to be quite a bit bigger. Obviously, very easy to do. This is something that you can do at a star party. If there's a full moon, it doesn't even have to be a full moon. It can be a bright gibbous moon, but you can see this. I think I have one more moon thing here, unless I deleted it because it's top secret. Oh no, we have two more things. Libration. I don't want to go into what libration is, but you can see it. And each month, what is libration? Well, it's just when there's a rocking back and forth and up and down that the moon does as it presents the same face towards us all the time. So it's not really quite the same face. We can see, I think they say like 59% of the surface of the moon due to this rocking and nodding monthly. On April 20th through the 25th, if you look at Mare Crisium and how far it appears from the lunar limb, and you'll notice it changes very slowly. But after that 5 days, you'll notice there is quite a bit of a gap between the eastern edge of the Mare and the lunar limb. So this is something that anyone can see, and anyone on Earth who can see the moon can see this. Now this is a top secret one right coming up. Yes, yes. You know, the reason why I put this after the libration is because if you have a gibbous moon or a full moon, it's really bright. You know, with my eyesight, I have mediocre eyesight at best. But when I see this stuff, it is just a big round blur. But it turns out that you can really sharpen up your image with no optical aid at all. Most of eye imperfections occur on the outer edge of the eye, not in the center. So if you block out the outer edge if you block light from going into the outer rim, outer edge of your eye, your visual acuity should shoot up, and it does. And one other thing. So how you do this? Well, what do? Take just your typical soda pop cap and drill a 16th inch hole in it. And it has to be 16th inch. It can't be an 1/8 inch, and it can't be a 32nd. It has to be a 16th of an inch. Because if it's too small, well, the image you receive, remember, you're blocking out light. The image you see is just be too dark. And if it's too big, you're now letting in all the light going through the imperfections in your eye, and it starts to blur up. Plus, it's brighter. By the 16th of an inch, it reduces the light by about 94%. So when you have this big, bright, full moon in the sky, for me, just a big blur, and now I reduce the light by 94% and sharpen it up just by looking through this little pinhole. You can see Maria. You can see the shapes of these things. You can't see craters. But I think this is a good representation of how that really works. Obviously, on the left, you don't have any optical aid, nothing there. That's John Goss's view right there, just a big white blur. But when I look through that little pinhole, 16th of an inch, remember, I see that. And you can see on the north eastern side of the moon, the round Maria Crocea, you can see the gap between it and the limb of the moon. And if you do this over a series of nights, you can see that gap either get bigger or smaller, depending on the type of libration you're having. So there you go. I mean, that is so basic, so easy to see. Clubs can do this at their observing sessions. We do it. We give these sessions at a state park, and we get like 100 people there. You know, they all want to see full moon. But I hand these things out, and people are amazed at how much better they can see. It's no trick involved. It's just everything I just explained. So go ahead and give that a try. A 16th of an inch hole, not an 1/8 and not a 32nd. For some reason, that 16th is the sweet spot. Now, I pounded that into the ground pretty good, but go ahead and give that a try. Another one. Now, I don't know if you've actually done this. You've probably seen this type of stuff on the internet. You know, you get a nice full moon. So you have people there standing there with the moon, pictures of their friends with the moon on their head. They're holding the moon, you know, all that stuff. Well, if you're at an event, everyone has their phones. Tell them about this. Encourage them to try it. You know, it's not that big of a deal, but people like being involved and seeing some of this, and they like getting that picture of the moon on their friend's head, and then they start immediately texting it to their buddies. You know, look at Bob. Oh, what an idiot. You know, what a clown. And he has a moon on his head. So it's a lot of fun to do. And you got to remember people to try to get proportionality just right and back up or zoom in or whatever. Don't overexpose it. You might want to have a flashlight to kind of brighten up the scene. But that's a lot of fun to do. And as I was said earlier about a lot of these observing sessions with the public, you're trying to find stuff to do. You know, between if the moon gets too high or too low or the sun just set, well, how are you going to do with all these people? Well, do stuff like this. They'll love it. Okay, I pounded that one pretty good. Now, I like talking about this. Every April, every April, I think there are a couple of evenings which are truly captivating, even enchanting, because you have a couple evenings of the Pleiades setting, getting lower and lower with the Hyades, and you got Orion up there someplace. And you have the crescent moon, the thin crescent moon, sliding among all these objects. And it's really cool to look at because they're not just a crescent moon, it's a crescent moon with Earthshine. You can talk about Earthshine then, what that is. And it looks really, really magical. This year we have Venus, bright Venus, which I'll get to in a moment, and Jupiter up at the other side, kind of as bookends, encasing the whole scene right here. April 19th and 20th this year. This happens every year sometime in April, 19th and 20th this year. So people around the world, they go out, it's worth their time to go out. You don't need a telescope. It's nice to have binoculars though, but you don't need any of that stuff. Just go out and observe the sky, and this is what you're going to be treated to. People who don't go out, people who don't make the effort, won't see stuff like this. You don't have to sit out for an hour and look at this. Go out for 10 minutes. Think, yeah, that's pretty neat. And then find your way around the sky. You can see the Pleiades. That's always something to do. The Hyades, you got the Orion with all this cool stuff. So there you go. Have them do that. Zodiacal light. This is a good time of year to see the zodiacal light if you're in a dark area. Zodiacal light is just dust distributed in the outer solar system, sunlight reflecting off of it, and you can see it as a subtle glow. This time of year, it rises pretty sharply to the horizon, encompassing the Pleiades, perhaps bumping up into the Hyades and Aldebaran, but it's a very subtle glow, something to look at. It's something that people don't notice, or if they have seen it, they have just thought, hey, it's still sunset, it's still twilight. But no, this is like hour and a half after sunset. It's dark. You can see this. From where I live, you can see it. A friend of mine took this picture. Of course, you can see M31, the Pleiades and Aldebaran and so on. But on the left-hand side of the picture, you see the bright cone of light coming up. No, that's not twilight. That's not sunset. That's the zodiacal light. People around the world who are in dark rural areas can see it. They may not know what it is. So it's up to Astronomers Without Borders to teach them about it. And they'll see that they're seeing another consequence of our solar system. This is all space stuff right here. Jupiter. This year, Jupiter is really easily seen. It's among the stars of Gemini. And so we have an activity on finding it and plotting its motion through the month, because you can see that Jupiter, it's a planet and it really does move with respect to the background stars. Point this out to people and they can plot it themselves. It's positioned relative to Castor and Pollux and kind of a dimmer star called Delta, but you can see that. Plot it from day 1 all the way to the 30th, and you'll see that it does move. The chart here on the right shows why this is happening, how this goes. But if you tilt that chart sideways, you'll see that gives exactly the same representation that you see in the sky. So a lot of these charts we have here, they're not just made up, although I make them up, but they're supposed to be true, and I try to get them just right. So this one does that. So that's something to consider. Jupiter's a planet, and it's up there. Here's one that is the toughest one of all these, but supposedly it can be done. Jupiter's moons Jupiter's moons Callisto and Ganymede are far enough away from the planet and are bright enough that if the planet is properly blocked from view and your sky is dark enough, you should be able to see the star-like moons, those 2 star-like moons of Jupiter, with the unaided eye. One way of doing it is to put it behind a distant landscape object, such as a utility pole. I guess you can do a tree, that's kind of hard, or a building, but I like the utility pole idea. And try it. You got to have a dark sky to see it, because these moons are only like 5th magnitude, 5.5 magnitude. So you got to be able to see at least that dim of an object. And this gives the best time of in April to try this. Might work. My eyes aren't that good, but you got to have excellent eyesight. And just to confirm all these observations, whip out the pair of binoculars and you'll be able to see for yourself. Yeah, it really is on the left side. So that's something anybody can do any place in the world, as long as it's very clear and they have good eyesight. Yeah. Oh, well, one more. This is my last one. This is my last one. Mercury and Mars in the morning. I have to start out by saying, sorry, Northern Hemisphere viewers, you won't see a very good event this time around with Mercury and Mars. But those who live near the equator and those who live in the Southern Hemisphere can easily see Mercury about 40 minutes before sunrise, just about all month. And it's fairly high in the sky as it starts out, and it drops lower, lower, lower each morning. So finally, around April 21st or so, it meets Mars, which isn't very bright. Mercury's brighter, but it meets Mars very close for a couple days, and then Mercury continues its fall towards the horizon. Pair of binoculars really helped show this up, but Mercury would be easily bright enough to be seen with the unaided eye. You just have to look. That is something to think about. You know, you got all these various activities for people who are out there who want to learn more. You know, why do we do this? And I started out by saying one reason why we do it is to try to spark that interest in somebody. So which one of these many activities will spark that interest? You know, I know not all this is for everyone. They're not all going to be interested in it, but there's a big variation, wide variation of what these activities are and what you have to do and what you're going to get out of it. So something like this, some of these activities can be done by your own club, members in your own club, even in the public. If you go into these observing sessions, some of these, putting the moon on top of people's heads to see if you can see the zodiacal light, for instance. Which one of these it's going to spark people's imagination and get them all interested in the night sky? You know, it could be a life-changing event in a way. It could be something which think, yeah, from now on, I'm always going to know what Jupiter is like, and that it really does move in the sky. It doesn't move fast, but I can see that it does. So they all learn something about this. You know, and then it goes right back to the beginning of what Astronomers Without Borders is all about. And that everyone, everywhere, all see the same moon, the same planets, and many of the same stars, and we all live under the same sun. And I think that is so true to think about today. You know, we always see bad news today on how we're supposed to not really like each other. But look at this. This is something we all share. And it's not hard. You know, all those activities I just listed off, they're not hard. You just have to go out and do them. You have to be interested. And I know there are a lot of people out there who are interested, who have interest, and they just need a little direction. And that is one reason why the Astronomical League exists. Thank you, Terry. I will hand this back to you if you have any comments. Hopefully not too stinging, but comments anyway.
Thank you, John. I tell you, for everybody that doesn't know, go to the League's Facebook page. You can see so much of John's work and so much of what he has done here. And when you really stop and think about it, imagine all of the public that you can reach. How many parents come to us and say, oh my gosh, my kid's interested in astronomy. I don't know what to do. And there's always kids, you know, becoming that age that need to learn, or grandparents that enjoy, you know, taking a picture of the moon on their grandkid's head. There is always going to be people that really want to learn this. And John, you have really brought a lot of it to the forefront. So
Mm.
please check out the Astronomical League Facebook page. John does amazing stuff, as you've seen here, and it works everywhere for clubs for everybody. So, John, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. I know for me, a lot of this started, I mean, in astronomy, started when I was in eighth grade, and it was a winter's day or winter's night. And I first saw the M42 through it was a 6-inch telescope, which by today's standards is pretty small, but back then it was big. And that really impressed me. I thought, hey, you know, get a bigger telescope, it's going to look even cooler. And that kind of launched things, good or bad, for me. So
Yeah,
anyway, that's
yeah.
how that started.
That stays with you as you get older too. You know, you want more optics, more power, more everything to see better, or pictures, cameras. So, you know, but
Oh.
you bring the basics too.
One more thing I wanted to mention, since Scott Roberts is looking right at me there, wondering how I'm going to embarrass him on this. Astronomers Without Borders, they also do a solar eclipse glasses giveaway, turnaround, distribution. And I know
Yeah.
that Scott has helped with that quite a bit over the years, especially during the 2017 eclipse.
2017, yes.
Yeah. Thousands of, you only use these things, at least a lot of people use them
Hundreds
only
of
once.
thousands of these eclipse glasses.
So let's gather them up and distribute them out for other people around the world to see these other partial eclipses, as well as
Yes.
some totals. So thank you, Scott, for doing that, because
Thank you. Well, that was
has
an idea
enriched
that Mike
people's lives.
Simmons.
It's expanded people's horizons. So it's just a little thing, but it works. So thank you.
Work. Yeah.
Okay. Don't want to embarrass you too much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, John. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for everything you do for the Astronomical League. We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate
Well,
all of the information, the illustrations, and those illustrations really make a big difference too.
They
It
do.
helps to understand that. Yes. Yeah.
Well,
I think we all ought to go out and get all of our bottle caps and put that 1/16th hole in it. And the next event we have, hand them out when there's a good bright moon.
I have 40 of them. I have 40 of them.
Okay.
I think
don't
John
drink
should
that
make
much
a
like
book.
that, but
He needs to make a book with all of his wisdom, with all of his illustrations. It would sell big time.
Yeah. We need to remember that. Definitely. Thanks again, John.
all righty. Thank you for having me on.
Sure. All right. Next up, Don Knabb. Don does an amazing job with telling us about the night sky, and with his sea star, he makes it even more understandable. So, Don, how about if I turn this over to you?
Sure, Terry. Thanks. Let me share my screen. Find it here. Should be coming through now.
Yes.
It's trying to. Yeah.
And I'll do my slideshow. Let me just minimize this.
There you go.
All right, so
Perfect.
good. All right, just a brief review of some of the highlights of the March night sky. Not a whole lot here, because then we have a full program tonight. But I'm also a member of the John Goss fan club. I should hand out buttons saying that. But so I would like to mention that. Let me minimize this little floating panel here. I always like to mention that these guides are available. John does them every month. We talked about those extensively already. But how do you find them? So I'll show you that really quickly. You can get them from Facebook, as been mentioned a couple of times. But easier yet, if you want to print these out yourself and hand them out like we do at our events on our local club, go to the league website, and then you scroll all the way to the bottom. And once you get to the very bottom, you find a number of links. Go to Outreach Downloads, and here you'll find Night Sky Tools. And this screenshot is from November, but it's updated now. You'll find the March maps to hand out there. Again, great tools, and there's many things here you can, other than the sky maps, that you can hand out at your events. And we use these guides also. I send them. I'm the treasurer of our club. Whenever we get a new member, I send them about a half dozen of these things printed out from the website, and we hand them out at meetings and at events. So lunar highlights for March. I need to hide this little floating panel here. There it goes. All right. March 20th, we have Venus low in the west with the moon. The moon is only a couple days past new at this point, so you can see this naked eye with the moon and Venus, or get your telescope out, and a beautiful view of the very thin crescent moon and the unlit, the uh, old moon and the new moon's arms. And then also in lunar highlight on the 24th, a couple of days later, the moon has gone up into Auriga and is right next to Beta Tauri. Uh, this star is actually part of Taurus, not Auriga, though it is used in the diagram. Right next to Elnath, the star. So a nice close conjunction there. March 25th, another beautiful sight. The moon has now gone up between Gemini and Auriga, and we have the lunar straight wall, which is, it looks like a wall, but it's actually a very, very shallow line, a fault in the moon's surface. But just at lunar sunrise, it shows up very, very easily in the telescope. You could probably see this in high power binoculars also, but I really like looking at this lunar straight wall. It's great fun to share at a star party. People have never seen it. And even more exciting for me, one of my personal things I love to see is the lunar X and lunar V. And this is the same night, March 25th. And down here at the bottom, you can see the lunar X near crater Werner. And then the lunar V is up top here. And here I did a little blow up of the lunar X. And it is it's the really top of the craters, top of the mountains that form the craters there. It's a great sight. And we've actually in our club had lunar X parties where we will get people together at a house or at an observing site and all look at it together. And it's only lasts a few hours, so you need to be at the right place at the right time on the planet to be able to see this. Now the planets, Mercury is low in the morning sky just before dawn. Maybe some people get up that early, but it's very low. I won't be going for Mars in March. Mars right now too close to the sun to be visible. Venus and Saturn are low in the west, just as the sky darkens. You can probably not even see Saturn. I can barely see it in my screen, a tiny little dot here next to Venus. So this is on March 8th, around 7:18. So if you wait much later, it'll be a little darker, but it'll also be closer to the horizon. So we got a nice grouping of planets here and in the evening sky. And Neptune is also in this area, but it's just, you'll never find it in below the fading sunset, but Neptune is there. Jupiter rules the evening sky, high in the southwest, right, dancing around between the twins, the constellation Gemini. Uranus is near the Pleiades, and we just talked quite a bit about the Pleiades. So once you find the Pleiades, you can star hop a couple of, especially binoculars would be easy. A couple of fields of view, get down to Uranus. Would be a little more star hopping with a telescope, but you can certainly do that. Again, Pleiades gives a nice starting point to find Uranus. And there's Uranus. And I put one slide, binocular observing. One of my favorite little asterisms, this is not a constellation, it's an asterism, is Kimball's Cascade, okay? And so it's an open cluster. It starts at NGC 1502, which is up here. And it's almost as if the stars are cascading out of this open cluster. It's a really nice binocular view, sort of in the middle of nowhere. So you need to do a little bit of slooping around to try and find this. You can maybe find a bright star to Capella and star hop your way down. But it is so distinctive when you see it. This is not really a good. This is from Stellarium, not really a good picture of it. But when you see it, it jumps right out, and it's a great sight to share with friends. Deep sky, I'm going to talk about two lesser known objects you can add to your observing list. First one is Messier 109, and that is located at the bottom back star of the Dipper of the Big Dipper. And it is named the Vacuum Cleaner Galaxy. It was named by a fellow named Devin G. Moore. When he named it that, he said this looks like a cyclonic vacuum cleaner device. And that was his first reason. The second reason was he likes vacuum cleaners. So go figure. So, but that is the vacuum cleaner galaxy. And I believe this is also, if I remember right, this is the furthest Messier object in the entire list. So if you find this one, you're looking further away than you would think. And the other one is the kite cluster. So that is up here, NGC 1664. They call it the firefly near the fireworks. So what are the fireworks? The fireworks are M37, M36, M38. They're pretty bright clusters, very nice binocular views. But if we go across from Capella, we find the kite cluster. And if you look, you can see the kite shape here. There's the tail coming down next to this bright star in the foreground. And then here's sort of a kite shape above it. So I haven't actually seen this, but I'm going to try to get an image of this with the sea star. It's in a good spot in the sky right now. So if the clouds ever part, and we have had an entire week of clouds and rain here in Pennsylvania, I'm going to try to get an image of this. So, you know, it's still chilly out here in March. Get on some warm clothes and go out there and enjoy the March sky. There's some great stuff up there. And that is, okay, good. Stop sharing. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Okay.
Sorry. There we go. Sorry. Thank you. That was really interesting. Really like the kite. I've never seen that.
Yep, I want to get a picture of that. If I do, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do. I would love to see what it looks like then.
Yep.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next month at NEAF.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
And
gonna
back
be
here
here
May
before we
1st.
know.
Yep, and back here May 1st.
Yep. Yes, we will. All right. Well, up next is Chuck Allen. As you know, Chuck is the president of the Astronomical League. And I'm sure, Chuck, I'm sure you have all kinds of good information for us.
I have some. The first thing I'd like to do is say something that doesn't get said on League Live very often, if ever, and that's something about our host, Terry Mann. I don't know how many of you are aware of this, but Terry was secretary of the league for 4 years. She was vice president for 4 years. She was then president for 4 years, and during her 4 years as vice president was effectively president, because our president was overseas at that time in the Air Force. And now she's been vice president for 4 years again. So you're looking at the, so far, second longest serving officer and heading for number one, I think, in league history. And her dedication to the league is just extraordinary, and I couldn't survive without her. So I just wanted to thank her publicly for that.
Thank you, Chuck.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah,
A feature I wasn't expecting. Okay.
me either.
Yeah, let me share my screen for just a moment, because I want to talk about the fact that we are now in League Awards season again. And this is something that may apply to you if you're a club officer in the league, if you are a league member, or even in some cases, if you're not a league member. So let me make it plain that we have some major awards, most of which have deadlines for application or nomination of March 31st. That's toward the end of this, that's the end of this month. So we're just a couple of weeks away from those deadlines. We have a number of youth awards, as I'm sure many of you are aware, and we give out over $15,000 in prizes. Many of those expenses covered by Explore Scientific, which has been a dedicated sponsor of both our NIA Award, our National Young Astronomer Award, and also, of course, our Fleming Awards. The National Young Astronomer Award is for research by high school students. To be eligible, you need to be a U.S. citizen and enrolled in a U.S. secondary school. You have to be 14 to 19 years of age at the time of nomination and not enrolled in college. And we get absolutely extraordinary submissions from many of these young people who go on to physics and astrophysics careers. Here's Karen Lay, who won in 2020 for identification of an unknown source of 21 centimeter neutral hydrogen emission using a radio telescope that she built. And here is a younger, as we all were then in 2010, Scott Roberts presenting Andrew Hitchner with his NIA award for a study in stellar spectroscopy. And here are a couple of our other recent winners. Leon Garcia is at Stanford now, and a young man that we have invited back a number of times to be a speaker because he's a very dynamic speaker and an incredible student as well. And if you just look at some of these topics of research that they've done here for a moment, I think you'll see just how amazing it is. A lot of these young people take these research projects into ISEF, the International Science and Engineering Fair, and on occasion, the Regeneron Science Talent Search as well, with success. We have Horkheimer Youth Service Awards. We have 4 of them. The Horkheimer Smith Award for Service has a cash prize of $1,750 and an expense-paid trip to our national convention each year. Our Horkheimer Daria Service Award has a $1,000 cash prize, and we take nominations mostly from club officers for these who want to recognize young people who handle a lot of the public education functions. But we also take nomination applications from students themselves. If they just provide us with information about their public outreach, the websites they've created, the libraries where they speak, the museums where they speak, the astronomy day activities, the mall activities that they engage in, and that sort of thing. We have a Horkheimer Parker Imaging Award that has 3 awards, all cash prizes of $1,500 and $250 for photography, astronomical imaging, and the Horkheimer O'Meara Journalism Award, which is open to 8 to 14-year-olds. And those have prizes of $1,500 and $250 as well. And it does not have to be an astronomical essay. It could be an essay on any scientific subject. We have Major League Awards. This is Richard Gott receiving the 1998 Astronomical League Award, which is our highest award for contributions to astronomy. This is Jim Fox, who won the 2014 Leslie Peltier Award. This is for observational astronomy. Jim, a good friend of over 35 years of mine and a former president of the league, did incredible studies of the atmospheres of Uranus and Neptune over a period of many years. We have a Webmaster Award. So clubs should nominate their webmaster if they think they've done a wonderful job for them. And the newsletter editor in your club might also be eligible for the Mabel Stearns Newsletter Award. These both come with amazingly beautiful plaques that we would like to present at our national convention in Cincinnati if they can attend. We have a Sketching Award with cash prizes of $250, $125, and $75. And there's an example of the kind of sketching that some people do, which is just amazing. Richard Francini's image of Clavius. The Wilhelmina Fleming Imaging Awards are sponsored by Explore Scientific, and this is an imaging competition open to female league members who are age 19 and over. And the seeking sponsor there, this is an older slide. The sponsor is Explore Scientific. We're not seeking a sponsor, and we want to thank Explore Scientific for that. But the deadline is March 31st for submissions for this award as well. And John Goss, who spoke so wonderfully a little while ago, heads up our Horkheimer Library Telescope giveaway. The Astronomical League gives away 11 of these things every year. One to a petitioning club within each region and one to a member at large, all for placement in a local library. So we don't always get nominations from every region, so we don't always give away 11. So you might want to apply for one of these. It's a good way to attract new members who find your club through rental of these telescopes at their local libraries. You can find all of our information about these awards at our league website, astroleague.org. And if you simply go to our webpage on the first page, just drop down to the bottom and look for awards, as you can see down here. And that will take you to a complete list of the awards and all the nomination materials that you need or the requirements. And here is a link to the Library Telescope program. And that program also has a deadline, but it's not until June 30th. So that's the one award program, the giveaway for the Library Telescopes, which is not March 31st. It's June 30th. I would like to point out that in Cincinnati at ALCON 26, which is being so magnificently planned by a great league society, the Cincinnati Astronomical Society, and my thanks go to Brian Simpson, who's president of that club, and to Eric Shermley and Laura Zajac, who are co-chairing this event, for all the work they're doing. But we will be having an imaging competition with medals and plaques awarded in multiple categories. That you can see some of the categories here on the left at that convention. But we'll also be conducting these imaging competitions at two other conventions. One, the NCRAL convention in Cedar Rapids, and the other being the MSR, the Mid-States Region convention that will be held in St. Charles, Missouri. So if you have images, art, sketching, and you'd like to compete for these awards, please come to one of our conventions and join up. So here's a summary of who's eligible for what. And I'll just leave that up for a second so you can see that we do have the NIA Award, the National Young Astronomer Award, is open to non-league members. The Astronomical League Award, of course, is open to non-league members. And all of the others, we do require that you be a league member. Okay. Award deadlines, March 31st. If you have questions, please write vicepresident@astroleague.org. That's Terry, and she's in charge of most of these awards. I still handle the National Young Astronomer Award. So, Terry, that's it for now, and I will stop sharing. And okay, so maybe I didn't go long enough, did I?
That's okay. Thank you, Chuck. Yeah,
Thanks.
we are already getting entries for these awards. So the 31st will be here before we know it. It seems like time flies. So make sure you get your submissions in, and will probably be the beginning of May, maybe the end of April, beginning of May, before we get results back. And they will be announced, if you're at the ALCON in Cincinnati, you can receive your award there, and that would be fantastic. It's something we've done for years, and it's always such a joy to meet these people. Like Chuck said, the kids are amazing, the adults, everybody that comes, it's just an amazing night to do and to meet everybody. So thank you, Chuck. We do appreciate it. Is Chris there by chance? Let's see.
Yes, I am here. Unfortunately, I'm multitasking, but I'm listening.
Okay. Gordon has not made it yet. Do you have anybody that would you like to say a few words about the NCRAL conference?
Well, Gordon had planned to make it, so let me mute myself and try and give him a quick call. And if that doesn't work, then I'll come back on and I'll try and tell you what's going on to the best of my ability. I don't have a slide deck or anything, but I'll be back in a couple of minutes or to let you know.
That sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we've got a couple of minutes to just kind of open discussion. Anybody have anything on their mind they would like to say?
Well, I would like to thank all the people that are watching right now. We have a nice audience. Let me just kind of recognize some of the people that are chatting a little bit. There's a astronomator. I like that name there. So yeah. He was watching on YouTube. Howard Locke, who often tunes in. Okay, Harold Locke. And we got a photo gazer guy at YouTube. He says, just joined. Where is this? Then he figured it out. Okay, so photo gazer says hello from the Star City Astronomy Network in Blue Ridge Mountains in Southwest Virginia. Harold Locke comments. He says 2 nights in a row on full moon, something like giant ethereal beings on the surface of the moon. The light without a moon filter can play tricks on you for sure. 2 doublers in line, prime focus. But many others. Amy Church is on. Alan Dyer tuned in. He says, I agree. Those nights in April with the waxing moon are magical. Carolyn Herbst Chrisman. John is so knowledgeable. Mitch Luman. John, all these activities and then he gives, all these activities. And I posted a link of handouts and useful information. So anyhow, the league is just known for giving so much for free. Okay. Membership is a modest price with the Astronomical League. And so if you don't belong to a league club, you need to consider joining the Astronomical League at large. So, and I'll turn it back over to you, Terry.
Thank you very much, Scott. We now have Gordon Baustian joining us. I'm sorry. I butchered your name probably.
That's fine. It's like your boss at work and gin the drink put together, but it's not spelled that way. So usually most people know who their boss is, and a lot of people know about gin. So that usually works. So
you fit fine with this group.
Oh, good. That's good. How are you guys today?
Gordon is going to talk to us about the NCRAL conference, and a lot of us are going. So, Gordon, I'll turn this over to you.
Yeah, I know you've had a busy evening. My colleague, Chris Cardos, is also online, so he can jump in maybe if he has anything else to add. The last time we were on, I did a little PowerPoint presentation. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'll just give you an update. Since we launched our website, we've had an incredible response. We sold out all of our conference rooms that we had reserved and blocked at a conference rate. Almost within 72 hours, they were all gone. And we were able to, with our colleagues at the Hilton downtown, we were able to find other Hilton facilities real close by, and we were able to get some more rooms at a nice conference rate, and free parking and free breakfast and things like that. So I was very, it was a nice problem to have. I was a little worried how many people we'd get signed up, and all of a sudden we were sold out. And then a lot of the tours that people were signing up seemed to be very appealing. And so right now, as of this afternoon, we have 83 people signed up,
wow,
which I think is really nice. And 72 are signed up for the banquet. We've had nearly 30 people signed up for the different the tours. And so that was another thing we had to sign. I kind of pumped the brakes for a minute because we weren't sure we'd have that kind of a response. And we had to then talk to the docents and the people agreeing to do the tours, and so we can figure out the logistics a little better. So, but I think we're in good shape there. It should be fun. And I just, like I said, it's very excited. When we look at our web analytics, it's really fun because you can see where these people are registering from, and it's over a very large area: Arkansas, Florida, Texas, North Dakota, and clearly a lot of people from Iowa and Minnesota and Illinois. But wow, I didn't expect people from all over the country like that. So that's been very, very exciting. When Chris and I built our budget for the conference, we made some assumptions, and we said, okay, we think, a certain percentage, maybe 25% of the people would register so quickly. We were way wrong. They have really registered, really quickly, and that's really nice, and we're very excited about that. So things seem to be really rolling and happening. We have the Harlow Shapley lecture coming from Boulder, Colorado, Dr. Ryan French, and so things are falling into place really, really well. So, Chris, do you have anything to add?
I don't think so, but we're happy to take any questions.
Yeah, and that will be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and the date is
May 15th is a Friday. Then we have our informal kickoff, and then Saturday the 16th is the official, formal presentations and plenaries and business meetings and banquets and things. And then Sunday the 17th is when we're doing those tours.
Thank you.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with Iowa, Cedar Rapids is just a little bit north of Interstate 80 that goes through Iowa. And, when you're at Iowa City, we're just 20 miles north of Iowa City on off of Interstate 80 on Interstate 380, and it'll take you right downtown right to the DoubleTree. So very easy to get to and very easy to find.
And I had an opportunity to speak at the Eastern Iowa Observatory, and it's just a fabulous facility and a fabulous lecture facility, beautiful indoor walkways between domes. I mean, it's an amazing place. So if you have a chance to go to an NCRAL convention, I couldn't recommend them more. They're always well run wherever they're held. And these folks have done a magnificent job.
Well, and it's always better when you're here, Chuck.
I'll be there. I'm registered. I've got my room.
Yeah, I know. I've been checking up on you, but whenever you're here, you always give such great presentations. I always learn something, and it's just always great to have you and Al and Sarah here, so.
I'll come up anytime you need me.
And we appreciate your gracious comments as well, Chuck.
Yeah, well, I'm going to take you up on that, Chuck. I'm going to pass that on to Steve Spangler and say, hey, Chuck said.
I love doing it. So.
All right.
Anything else, you guys? If not, just be sure to hit our website at NCRAL 2026, and there's a lot of information, updates, and you can hear learn more about our speakers, their CVs, their topics, and the agendas and the tours. And we've gotten a lot of nice feedback about our web site this year, and we have to give our tip of a hat to our webmaster, Andy Monty, who's done a fabulous job for us. So please visit the site, and we hope to see you all in May here.
All right. Well, thank you both for being here, and we all look forward to it.
All right, Terry, thank you so much. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. All right. I will make one announcement that Don Knabb alluded to. We will not have an AL Live in April. There just a lot of stuff going on in April, but we will be back on May 1st. So we will definitely see you on May 1st, and thank you all tonight for joining us. And thank you to our speakers. Everybody has just been amazing tonight. And Scott, thank you for broadcasting. We couldn't do this without you. So thanks, everybody. Please join us on May 1st or come to the NCRAL conference. We'll see you there too. So thank you. And Scott, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, sounds good. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. There was a gentleman who wants to reach back out to one of the officers of the Astronomical League. I put my mobile phone number down in there so that you can send me a text message and I'll get your message over to League officer. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to be at the Northeast Astronomy Forum. We're going to be at the Northeast Astronomy Imaging Conference, okay, which comes up this April as well. So you can see all that information on NEAF Expo. The League, I'm sure, will be there, right? And so, it's always a pleasure to do these. We have a nice audience tonight. We want to thank you all for tuning in. If you're watching this in rerun, think about sharing this. Make sure that you're liking the League's Facebook page. Support them because they do a heck of a lot to support the astronomical community at large. So, until next time, until May, I guess, we will sign off, and you guys keep looking up.
Bye, everyone.